It has to do with farming. What did the imperial power want to do in farming?
Didn't they plant like different crops and affected the soil so
Not affected the soil, but they did plant different crops. What kind of crops did the imperialistic power plant?
cotton?
Cash crops.
Cash crops.
Like tobacco.
Ones that they could make money on, not necessarily eat for food. That causes starvation. Instead of producing the food products, they produced tobacco and other things that were wanted by other people, so it forces less food into the market. That's also a negative.
So why was famine caused?
They were growing cash crops instead of corn. You're not.
Instead of edible crops.
Oh,
Think about it. Instead of growing a bunch of corn, it's now a bunch of tobacco. You can't.
Or they produce so much sugar because there was high demand, but you don't eat the sugar.
You can't eat tobacco.
You can smoke it.
Good. Okay, those are negatives. But what are positives that come as a result of imperialism?
I think we know what Jamie
Ben?
More land for the country.
Not more land for the country, they're taking land.
Yeah, no, I mean like the country that takes over.
The country that takes over gets more land. Justin?
Aren't they like, because when they get taken over, they're kind of like protected by that country? So
They are, so they're protected from their enemies, their traditional enemies, by this new country that has more power, more technology. Ben?
A lot of the European powers would build infrastructure in those
Yeah, they built railroads and bridges and roads, so there was that. It was an improvement to those more backward countries. What else, Jared?
They would also educate the people oftentimes.
Literacy or education went up in those countries because the countries that were taking control were far more advanced than the countries they were taking control of. What else?
They also gave them modern technology.
They did, and technology is sort of a generalized, but there is a big advantage to that technology and that helps people in their lives. What is that?
Antibiotics.
Yeah.
wheel.
Medicine.
Their health improves, sanitation, health improvements, vaccines, all kinds of things that these more primitive countries didn't have a way of having.
Malaria medication.
Yeah. So there are advantages and there are disadvantages to imperialism, but you can't discount the fact that they
He's getting moved.
must be a low mix day. Okay. There's positives and negatives. Okay? Now, when the war comes, there is a spark that sets the war off. What is that spark? Matt?
The assassination of
Who?
the Archduke.
The Archduke?
I know his name.
Who was from where?
He's my country. Ferdinand.
Franz Ferdinand, who's
Austria.
apparently part of his country. Franz Ferdinand got assassinated after Austria-Hungary took what?
Serbia.
Bosnia? No,
And
Serbia was
Hungary.
upset.
America.
After they took
They
Hungary.
took Bosnia-Herzegovina, which you won't remember 2 seconds after I say it,
Bosnia.
but they took Bosnia-Herzegovina,
How do you spell
and
Herzegovina?
Serbia was upset because the Bosnians and the people of Herzegovina were similar to the Serbs. They wanted to include them as part of their nationalistic society. But Austria just annexed them. So what did Serbia do? Actually, Serbia didn't do anything. A Serbian did. Ben?
A Serbian from the Black Hand. His name started with a P, I think.
Yeah.
Did he have
Yeah.
names?
Oh, Princess.
Oh, nice.
And what does he do?
He killed Franz Ferdinand. Was he a Habsburg, Franz Ferdinand?
I don't know if he was Habsburg.
Wait, can you
No,
repeat
they
the
were
name,
sort of
please?
related, but he
No,
didn't
no,
call
the name of the
himself.
Serbian.
So he assassinated the Archduke, who is
The Archduke from
the
where?
person who's going to become king, but isn't the king. And this infuriates
Franz Ferdinand? Yeah, from where?
Austria-Hungary, and they're going to punish Serbia.
Kidding me.
And as soon as they announce their
From the
plans to
Ottoman?
punish Serbia, Russia begins to
Really
mobilize
weird.
its forces, and then it's a matter of the dominoes of the alliances falling into place. Everybody gets into a war that
France
nobody
for-
wants to be in.
For that,
Everybody
France.
thinks it's gonna last 6 months, and it lasts from what year to what year?
It's France too.
Justin?
France, F-R-A-N-Z.
And the US gets into the war when, Ben? 1970. Russia gets out of the war when? Ben?
1917.
Yeah, how about that? And why does Russia get out of World War I?
Wait, when does the U.S. come in?
1917.
When does Russia get out?
1917.
Okay, I thought.
Matthew?
They went out because they had, their troops were not qualified to fight.
Oh, they lost millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, the Tsar wasn't able to, like, feed his.
Yeah, they were so poor industrially, they couldn't hold up for the war. And how about domestically?
They were in a revolution.
They were a wreck. They couldn't produce enough food for their people. Remember that guy Rasputin that they couldn't hardly kill? Yeah. So we see the Russians get out. How did they get out of the war, Lucas? They just said, "Whoop, time out, I'm getting out." Is that what they said?
No.
No, what did they?
They gave up
Yeah.
Poland.
Lucas,
I don't know. I mean,
how'd they get
I
out?
heard that.
They wanted to get out of the war.
Zaki knows. Copernicus.
Peace.
They gave up.
Copernicus?
They gave up Poland and some of the some of the Eastern like European countries that.
Eastern European countries?
No, I'm not wording this right.
Yeah.
They gave up some territory under.
The simple answer is that Russia gave Germany land.
Yes.
They
that.
gave land that we would recognize today as Poland, Finland, and the Ukraine. Now, they aren't real thrilled about this. What? Russia gave that land to Germany so that Germany would leave them alone and let them out of the war.
What went Poland?
Poland, Finland,
Wait, what?
Poland, Finland,
and the Ukraine.
and third
So they
grade.
give up this land so they could get out of the war. And a guy who, there's a temporary government in Russia that is taking over because they asked the Tsar to step down. And what is the new temporary government known as? Here's another one Jared should know, but he won't remember.
Jared,
I'm
because
about
they
to
didn't
tell
remember
you.
conscription.
Yeah.
Jared, you gotta prove them wrong
Nobody
right
is
now.
rude.
Jared,
Nobody.
Jared,